Hi, welcome to the C Sharp video tutorial package. This is a part 1 of C Sharp video tutorial which will explain you the basic concepts of .NET framework. This video is extremely important in the interview point of view because it will be containing all the basic theories of .NET framework. So let's start. What is C Sharp? C Sharp is a simple, modern, general-purpose object-oriented programming language developed by Microsoft within its .NET initiative. This tutorial will teach you basic C Sharp program. This tutorial has been prepared for the beginners to help them understand basic C Sharp programming. After completing this tutorial, you will find yourself at a moderate level of expertise in C# programming, from where you can take yourself to next levels. C# programming is very much based on C, C++ programming languages. So if you have basic understanding on C or CPP, then it will be a fun to learn C# programming language. So what is .NET Framework? The .NET Framework is a software framework developed by Microsoft which provides a controlled environment for developing and running applications. .NET Framework is nothing but it is a platform which consists of a set of libraries, utilities, some compilers which we can use for developing, building, deploying various .NET applications like Windows applications, WPF applications, web applications, WCF services or web services. So this is about the basics of .NET Framework. So what .NET Framework consists of? The .NET Framework consists of Common Language Runtime or CLR and .NET Framework class library. So what is a CLR? CLR or Common Language Runtime provides the environment in which all programs can be executed, and hence it is also known as execution engine. CLR is the heart of .NET Framework. CLR manages execution of .NET code and provide useful services. So what is class library? Class library is nothing but it consists of pre-written codes that can be used by all the programs written in Visual Studio.NET. So some of them are a bit difficult terms. Visual Studio, what is Visual Studio? We will check it out later. Common Type System or CTS. It facilitates cross-language integration, type safety, and high-performance code execution. In order that two languages communicate smoothly, CLR or Common Language Runtime has CTS. For example, in VB you have integer and in C++ you have long. These data types are not compatible. So the interfacing between them is very complicated. In order to enable that two different languages can communicate, Microsoft introduced Common Type System or CTS. So integer data type in VB6 and int data type in C++ will convert it to system.int32, which is data type of CTS. So CTS is nothing but it's a cross-language integration. So next is Common Language Specification or CLS. The Common Language Specification is an agreement among languages. It is nothing but guidelines the language to follow so that it can communicate with other .NET language in a seamless manner. CLS defines the rules and standards to which languages must adhere to in order to be compatible with other .NET languages. This enables C# developers to inherit from classes defined in VB.NET or other .NET compatible languages. An application written in VB.NET can access an application written in C#, which also can access the application written in J#, and so on. Now we can look into two other terms called Microsoft Intermediate Language and Just-in-Time Compiler. Microsoft Intermediate Language or Intermediate Language, MSIL or IL. When the code is compiled, the compiler translates your code into Microsoft Intermediate Language. So as everyone knows, compiler is nothing but a software which will convert a high-level language into machine code. So here how the process goes is, when the code is compiled, the compiler will translate our code into an intermediate language. Then the common language runtime or CLR, it consists of JIT, that is just-in-time compiler, which will convert the MSIL into native code. So how this process goes: high-level language into Microsoft Intermediate Language, then just-in-time compiler will convert this intermediate language to native code. That's how the process goes. It's simple. It's a two-step process. So what is just-in-time compiler? It's nothing. It's a compiler that converts that Microsoft Intermediate Language to native code. That's it. Very simple. Let's go through this diagram. This diagram is clearly explaining the compilation process in .NET. So let's look in detail how the compilation works. So as I explained earlier, compilation is the process of translating a high-level source code to machine language. Compilation in .NET happens in two stages. In first stage, .NET source code is compiled into IL or intermediate language. That it's like if you are writing a C# code, the compiler compiles to intermediate language. Okay. Then the next step is that the CLR takes this intermediate language code and pass it to the JIT, that is just-in-time compiler. So intermediate code is passed to JIT by CLR. Now this JIT converts it to the machine code, which can be read by the operating system. So the operating system can read only the machine code, as everyone knows. In short, developer writes the code, which is converted to intermediate language by the compiler, which is converted to the final machine code by just-in-time compiler, and this machine code is now understandable by the operating system. So it's a two-way process. First, the high-level language is converted to intermediate language, then the intermediate language is converted to machine language by JIT. That's it. Simple. .NET Framework architecture. This figure breaks down the .NET Framework into its system architectural components. Actually, the most important component of the .NET Framework is the CLR, Common Language Runtime, which provides the environment in which the programs are executed. So remember that the common type system is also a part of common language runtime. The layer on the top of the common language runtime is a set of framework base classes, followed by an additional layer of data and XML classes, plus another layer of classes intended for web services, web forms, and Windows forms. Web forms and Windows forms allow you to apply rapid application development techniques to build web and Windows applications. That's it. So on the top layer, the top of the CLR is a set of framework-based classes, followed by an additional layer of data and XML classes, plus another layer of classes intended for web services, web forms, and Windows forms. Web forms and Windows forms allow you to apply rapid application development techniques for building web and Windows applications. So that's the basic architecture of .NET framework. So in the top it's showing like CPP, C#, VB, Perl, C#, etc. Below that we got the CTS, common type system. So ASP.NET is a technology used to develop web applications. We can use VB or C# to write codes on ASP. Then we have Windows forms. Below that we got this ADO.NET, which we will come across later, and XML, extended markup language. The lowest part is the operating system. So that's the architecture of .NET framework. Let's concentrate more into C#. Although C# constructs closely follow traditional high-level languages C and C++, and being an object-oriented programming language, it has strong resemblance with Java. It has numerous strong programming features that make it endearing to multitude of programming worldwide. C# is a modern general-purpose object-oriented programming language developed by Microsoft. So Microsoft is behind C#. So who developed C#? C# was developed by Andreas Hegelsberg and his team during the development of .NET framework. C# is case sensitive. All the statements and expression must end with a semicolon. That's compulsory. So C# is a general purpose object-oriented programming language which is owned by Microsoft. That's the biggest point over here. Now, why C# is the most widely used professional language to develop .NET based application? Most of the standalone applications nowadays are developed using C#, and ASP.NET is used to develop web applications. Why? There are a bunch of reasons. The following reasons makes C# a widely used language. One, it's very modern. It's a general purpose programming language. It's object oriented. We will learn all the object oriented concepts later. The third one, it's very easy to learn. C#.NET is one of the most easiest language to learn compared to Java and all. It's very easy. It's a structured language. It produces efficient programs. It can be compiled on a variety of computer platforms. And this C#.NET is a part of .NET framework. All these are the reasons. Microsoft Visual Studio is an integrated development environment or IDE from Microsoft. It is used to develop console and graphical user interface applications along with Windows Forms, Windows Presentation Foundation, websites, web applications and web services. So Visual Studio is the development environment from Microsoft. So we can develop various console applications, graphical user interface applications, that is GUI applications, and Windows Forms, etc. on this Visual Studio. So Visual Studio is having different versions, but we can get a free version which is called Visual Studio Express. You can simply download this Visual Studio Express. To download this, it's like go to microsoft.com/Visual Studio. This slide shows Windows application development environment using C#. This picture, this snap is showing the Windows application development environment in C#. In C#, you can have Windows application development environment, web application development environment, or console application development environment, etc. So this snap is of Windows application development environment. We can look on to the details of forms in Windows application development section later. So for now, I am opening a console application environment. After installing Visual Studio, go to Start, Programs in Visual Studio 2010. I am opening Visual Studio for the first time after fresh installation, so we have to select a default development environment. We can set default development environment as C++, F#, etc., web development, etc. Here I am selecting C# development settings. So it will take some time. It's opening for the first time. Yeah. When we open Visual Studio 2010, you are presented with the start page similar to the screen that you can see here. On the left hand side of the screen, you can select the new project open dialog box to select previously saved projects, or even quickly access the recent project you have worked on. We can also start new project or website from the file menu on the top. Here I am selecting new project. So I selected new project. So I selected C# as my default development environment. It's on the top. So I have developed C#, so it's on the top. We have VB, C++, and F# on other languages. Other project type includes the setup and deployment option, which we will discuss later. Now I am selecting Visual C# The first one is Windows Form application. This creates a graphical user interface kind of program. Another important one we use is console application. I am sticking with console application now. I could give my project a name here, but I am going to leave for the moment. Below that we can change the location to save the project by browsing the location. For now I am leaving it as the default location. Click OK. So now we have a console development environment with some automatically generated codes. So some codes are automatically generated. Don't care about the codes now. We will get back to these codes in a later section. Okay. These codes are auto-generated. We have Solution Explorer on the right hand side and can be hidden. The Solution Explorer can be hidden. You can add the Solution Explorer by selecting View Solution Explorer. It will reappear. This will bring it again on the right hand side. Now let's go through that code. Okay. The basic thing you have to understand is the program execution starts from the main method and also ends inside the main method. So execution starts from the main method and it will end in the main method itself. After writing programs, we can build the project from the build menu on the top. You have an option for building the solution. Building involves inputting your project files into C# compiler, which converts your source code to intermediate language and this intermediate language to machine code. After building the project, you can run the executables. So we can write, this is our editor, we can write our codes over here, and after writing the codes we can build it. So right now I am closing the development environment. We have finished the basic concept about .NET Framework. We can study more about C# in next chapters.